and if it's appropriately centered. But yeah, technically it's not recording, streaming the video, recording everything, and that's all. So I'll set up the next.
Yep. The laptops are set up in the.
One of the red shirts, one of the ambassadors is a timer, one's in charge of technology, and one's gonna be by the door, make sure that the group is no noise. You're just judging. We knew we had people, keep it simple.
Okay, so.
Keep out of trouble.
And so we have a couple minutes in between to.
About 2 minutes.
confer notes.
Yeah. Need another minute, just, who's, oh, right now. I'll find who's talking. So you're the adult in the room? All right, you help these guys out, so I'm happy. Thanks again very much. Here's some of these, if anybody else shows up and wants to fill out.
Okay.
Most important thing is just any comments, positive.
Okay.
Why don't you guys just stand outside for a second, so I don't say anything inappropriate in front of you? You want to sit up here? You're more than welcome up there, Michael.
Oh, okay, it's recording.
Okay, so.
Michael
hang on.
just
So
graduated
you're
with a
gonna
master's degree.
hang-
Boston school?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, oh, 3 weeks, right. It's 3 weeks. And he's been helping the kids with rehearsals and stuff like that. So I keep him on.
And I can see actually.
I'm sorry. Oh,
Trying
she owns Bandstand.
Yeah, right now.
So where was your father? Which one?
He was in charge of Yoho National Park, but he was in charge of all the special projects for all the
Yes.
Rocky parks.
Okay.
And eventually he became in charge of Parks Canada. So, Prince, he just-
Yeah, okay.
Tim, did you want the people keeping time to stay in the?
My brother was also.
That is that like one in the, yeah, because they're going to 25.
About 2:30.
He was in
Right, okay,
different
okay.
parks.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell the people.
Usually we were moved, but when we handled the Rockies, they kept us for 5 years. So, it was good.
So do you have a favorite out of that?
Out of all the ones you guys
Yeah.
did, oh, they're all so different. But I love the Rockies. I mean, I love Alberta, I love the, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I come back here and Turkey. So,
And where are you now?
right now I'm in Boston, teaching.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but, I come back to Toronto actually when my kids are in a year and a half time, so. Yeah, I've been trying to convince them to come to Calgary. I haven't convinced them yet. My daughter would come back, but my son is like, no. He's a Toronto kid, so we'll see. Anyway.
Because twice today already, someone has been like, instead they call our conference. The number is posted right on the side that phone.
Yeah.
So, we'll be around if you guys need anything, like drinks, costumes, cocktails. Probably wouldn't be the first time that it's happened around here, so.
Let's get better over time.
Absolutely. I just have to check out one more group.
Just need to set up for bits.
No problem.
So it sounds like you're looking for things to start.
Set up. It's the executive summary. This one. Are you both judging this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll see that one.
Cheers.
I think I have a second one. Let me check third. I don't know.
Just give me 1 second.
So just to reiterate, we have 12 minutes to present 3 minutes for Q&A. I will give up the site and following timings. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. We'll start immediately. And the time starts now.
Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Sarah Angel and I'm from Colombia.
My name is Jelani John and I am from Grenada.
And my name is Mazen Hafsi, I am from Oman, and we are group 16, and today we're going to talk about liquids. Actually, our goal is to attract more customers and to make them sustainable and long-life customers, and by that, we're going to talk about our new target selection, and we're going to move to the suggested services we added to the liquids, and finally, we're going to talk about sponsorship and partnership.
So our first step is going to choose a new market in order to attract more customers. We believe that after careful analysis, the best option is South America, specifically Chile and Argentina. Some of the reasons why. So these two countries are two of the few countries in South America that actually have seasons. This means that they have ski culture in them. Also, Argentina is only a 17-hour flight, and Chile is also a 15-hour flight with only one stop included. So it's way easier to come from South America than to come from Europe, let's say, or Asia. Also, the target audience fits into your target audience because 55% of Argentinians and 58% of Chileans fit into your target, which is more than half of its population. So it'd be a very appealing market. And finally, their winter season is the opposite from the North American winter, meaning that they could come here during their summer season and they could ski in their country during their winter. This with the idea of attracting lifelong customers for you. Okay, so we studied the consumer, and this is a profile of the Argentinian consumer. They're generally very passionate people. They enjoy sports. They are very family-oriented. Its population is very young and it's constantly growing, which would give you the opportunity of having a market for a very long time. Also, the consumers have a high purchasing power, which would allow them to afford all your packages and all your activities. And finally, the same thing happens with Chile, very similar culture, also good income, family-oriented as well. And the good thing is that in both countries, media acceptance is very high, marketing is very well received, and there is high presence of social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Taking this into account, we created 2 mock posts for your social media. There's one in Spanish and one in English, taking into account that the official language of South America, most countries, is Spanish. So in this one, what we want to do is that we want to attract the customer in order for it to believe that it will always be winter. Since they're going to be used to skiing, they would want to ski all the time, as much as they can. So it would be like winter never ends in Lake Louise. And the second one is family-oriented, because these countries are very family-oriented. They believe that families and friends are very important, and they're constantly looking for places where they can spend time with their families and have a wonderful time together. So, and finally, we analyzed the study of social media. This was performed this year. It was performed by Sprout Social, and it shows these specific dates, hours, in which there is more social engagement, global engagement in social media. So we can see Facebook and Instagram engagement. The highest engagement usually occurs during Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, generally between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and then in the afternoon between 1 and 3. So we consider that if you take into account these times and these days, and you also post 3 times per week, because one of the key to success is, of course, consistency in social media. So if you follow those tips, I think we believe that you could achieve a really good social media strategy.
So new products and services. Essentially, the idea that we are trying to suggest is that by adding value to Lake Louise, not just focusing on the idea that it's a ski resort, but not focusing on the fact of skiing, but looking at the product as a ski resort and the other services that you can add alongside your skiing to make the customer feel more at home, make the customer feel more at home and one with the community. So some of the services we suggested, these are just examples, and you can take from these examples or find other indoor activities that would suit your taste better. So we saw that bowling, photography lessons, or alpine slide are possible solutions to activities that can be added to your product and services. In particular, the photography lessons can be used to add to your marketing segment, in that it will be a personal marketing experience that you see from the customer side of you. So after you teach them how to do photography, you give them a challenge. So on Wednesday, between 10 and 12, who can do the best Lake Louise hashtag, who can do the best picture? And that competition can be run weekly or monthly. We suggested, in terms of cuisine and food, that you add a steakhouse, a wine bar, and fast food. While at the resort this week, we realized that there was a Starbucks, but there was not much diversity in terms that there was only the restaurant and Starbucks, but we thought that adding fast food would make it more appealing to youths, because children, teenagers, they tend to like fast food. And the wine bar, Argentina and Chilean customers, they have high purchasing power, so they would appreciate the wine bar very much. Now, these services here, we're suggesting them in terms of a wellness center, in that after skiing or before skiing, you can indulge in a massage, stretching sessions to take the load off of your muscles, because skiing can be very tense on your muscles, so that by stretching, they can have a better experience while skiing. And then because the weather is normally cold, we suggest a hot tub. That way they can warm up after skiing, or if they're staying at the resort for the day, because of the weather conditions, they can stay very warm. The lifetime membership card is very important, because we believe by offering a lifetime membership card, they feel more at home with the community, in that the more they support the community, they get points which they can use at the ski resort, or they can use at the local Banff town, and that way they feel a part of the community. Now, partnerships and sponsorships help go along with all of this in these ways. So these are some possible sponsorships and partnerships that you can use. So CIBC, because most of the consumers are going to be coming with debit cards and credit cards, we suggest to partner with CIBC to increase the financial services that are available, that being ATMs or taking debit. We realize that some institutions don't like taking debit, so by having this partnership, it makes the customer feel comfortable in the case that they have debit cards and not credits. WestJet, the hours that we showed earlier, those were hours based on WestJet services from Canada. So we suggested that you partner with WestJet, so that every time they stay, they can get travel points, which would encourage them, because when they use the travel points with WestJet, it is then cheaper for them. So then they know it's cheap to get the flights. The more we participate at the ski resort, the more points we get, so that we can come back regularly. Red Bull is a big activist on extreme sports, and we believe that some of the slopes at Lake Louise are applicable for Red Bull activities. GoPro fits in perfectly with the idea of the social media as well as photography lessons. You can also include the GoPro technology on the ski helmets, or you can have it at different parts of the resort, so that it takes pictures, so that the skiers can remember critical moments and enjoyable experiences. And then you can hang it up at certain points of the resort, so that customers that are coming in can see it and be like, oh, I want to do this as well. Now, lastly, we have Protect Our Winters. Because it's an environmental product, and because you're in a national park, we suggest partnering with Protect Our Winters to do two things. One, have an event annually, that is, you bring in skiers to ski to change for climate change, and after that ski event, having a conference on environmental safety and how to combat climate change. By doing that, you are giving back to the community as well as having a fun, engaging activity for the skiers to partake in. Lastly, we would like to show you.
Before showing you a video that we created, I would like to mention that these two countries don't have very complicated entry requirements to Canada. Chileans don't need a visa to come here. They just have to go online into the Canadian immigration website, and they can get an electronic authorization. And Argentinians do need a visa, but it's only a 1-month process. They can do it all online, and they would get their visa. They can do it from up to 5 to 10 years. So it's a really straightforward process, and we have a lot of benefits. Also, the social media, we would like to be an integrated strategy, meaning that if you post a picture, you can post it simultaneously on Facebook, Twitter, Skype, and all of your networks in order to have more views and attract more customers. So finally, it's the video. It's as if you already were doing marketing in this place. So.
Wow, guys, you put a lot of work into that.
Yes.
Thanks for all your time on that. There's definitely some insights that we can take away and do some of great things with. So thank you to all three of you. Do you want to ask a question? Or did you want to
Go ahead.
I like the idea that you dove into two target markets, and I think that Chile and Argentina was very smart because of this idea that the seasons are reversed. So I think that was very clever. And I'm just wondering if you got any, if you looked at any data in terms of how many skiers there are in either one of those countries, and then secondly, how much air travel there actually is between Chile and Argentina, especially Argentina with the visa taking longer.
So in terms of scale, the data is skewed a little because international skiers also go to Chile and Argentina to ski. But basically, there are 10 or so resorts that experience roughly 10,000 to 11,000 skiers daily per year during that period. In terms of travel, however, the travel is not as frequent because large amounts of customers don't travel out of that because it's only WestJet and Air Canada does offer services, but not as much. So that is why we're suggesting a partnership to encourage that rotation in terms of flights out of Argentina to.
And also because the airport of Calgary just partnered with Jet. It is not flying international now, so it would be a good place to start.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thinking about the one thing that would stand out to us here in Argentina or Chile, what would you say is the number one thing that would resonate now that you've kind of experienced and in the research that you've done?
The slopes. The mountains are very important, like the depth of the mountain. So we believe that yours are the appropriate height, and it's
quality of experience, right?
Can I agree with that?
Yes. And also basically being able to have a family event where they can go with friends and experience a warm community is also important thing. As well as being able to ski regularly.
For sure, yeah, that came through.
The fact that Banff is a small town, it feels just warm, friendly. That is the kind of environment that these people are looking for.
Great work. Well
Thank you
done.
very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank
We
you.
definitely learned a lot from you and let's take your ideas. So much, that was great. Well done. Very well done. Thanks, yeah. What's next?
22.
It's the Roman fountain.
Hello, I'm looking forward to your presentation. One more second.
Take your time, let us know whenever you're ready.
We're almost good.
So Robert is finishing the evaluation to reiterate his talk in this presentation and previous Q&A. We give you 3 times percentages, 5 minutes for reading, 2 minutes for reading, 30 seconds. Do that, and shorthand. We'll show you the single side.
Okay. I'm ready to go. Thanks for coming.
Good morning. Thank you for coming first off. So we're LL Skiers of Team 22, and we're going to present our strategies for Lake Louise. Before we get into it, though, we do want to just do a little preface. So me and Ella are going to do most of this presentation just due to the time constraint. But if you do have questions, feel free to ask Dorothy or Rosemary as well, as we all worked really hard on this. And in addition, feel free to follow along with the brochure, as those have all of our talking points on there. And before we get started, we're going to show you a short video. So this video is basically a short little video that we want people to experience while they are at Lake Louise with our proposed plan. As you finding the need to increase your customer base and specifically the generations that go to your resort. So instead of just focusing on baby boomers, our proposed plan is going to focus on the millennial and Gen Z generation, as well as afterwards, and then also just to expand which cultures and countries come to your location. So we want to expand it to be more international and interactive, and you'll see as we explain continue on. So our proposed plan is something called glamping. I don't know if you guys heard about glamping before, but essentially what it is, it's camping with a modern twist. So it has all the amenities that you'd have in your home. So here's one example of glamping. This one has an open kind of bubble thing, so you can stargaze while you're sleeping. There's a comfortable bed, there's heating situations, there's sometimes running water, and I'll explain how that you can do that sort of thing, because I know you guys are in a wildlife preserve, so it's really like a little bit iffy. And this type of industry is more attractive to the millennials. So this industry is actually projected to reach $1 billion in the US at least by 2024, which is in 5 years actually. 4.5 by now, because that report that I was looking at was actually made in 2018. And so I also want to talk about a little bit more about the sustainability of this particular thing, because as I mentioned, you are wildlife, you want to keep it that way. With this particular thing that we talked about, there's more talking points in the brochure, like in specifics. We think it would be best if you want to build something like a more sturdier structure. There are tents, but I know that you guys have a bunch of like trash cans that you need to close, and like food storage system for the animals. If it's an enclosed system, it would be easier to like lock up food, make sure like no animals get in there, and then things to make it more sustainable would be solar panels for electricity, LED lights because they don't take as much electricity as standard light bulbs. Water tanks could be on the outside, and to collect the water, you could use rainfall or snowfall and then melt it because you do get a lot of rain and snow in the winter. And then the lights, so the solar panels could be used to heat it, the unit and the water as well. There could be like little showering systems inside. And they also have wind turbines that you could use, but with wind turbines, if it gets too windy, that could potentially damage them, and that's a little bit dangerous. And they also have sustainable water turbines that work with the wildlife. You basically put it in a creek and it does a slow turn. That way fish can pass through it, animals won't be like not messed up, but like interrupted by that. So there's always that. And then I'm gonna pass it along to Caitlin. She's gonna talk more about what we wanna include in glamping. So it's not just glamping, it's gonna be more of that. So here you are.
Actually, do you include just mention it? So our main idea, as Ella was saying, is glamping, but there's some stuff that's going to be a subtopic of that. So when we were initially doing our research, we were finding that as millennials ourselves and knowing a lot of millennials, we were asking like, when you're going on vacation, like what do you want? And they're more likely to search for an experience over like just random things. So we kind of wanted to focus on that. So if you want to go. So this is kind of what inspired our idea to begin with. It was 4 individuals from very far away lands. We have Kenya, Denmark, Germany, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and the US right here. And so before we even started working on our projects, what we would talk about is just a little bit of information about us and what it's like day to day in these different cultures. And then as we got on with the week, we were realizing that a lot of other students were having the same experience as we were. It was like a once in a lifetime opportunity to really collaborate, and like new ideas were popping up, and we were able to just kind of bounce ideas off of each other. So that's why we did experience the experience. So ideally what we want is a small glamping area. And so millennials and people who are individual travelers, anyone who's like an expat who's in the area for business reasons, or like entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be, can come together in one centralized location, and they can have international fireside chats like this. Or in addition, we want to also talk about the First Nations, because you guys did say that you were going to be proposing at the top of the lodge having a location for that. And I know from personal experience in Alaska, a lot of resorts also offer something similar, and they'll offer a meal. So you can frame it as a conversation between the natives and the visitors, and then have that experience to try the new foods and try that culture. In addition, you guys are also doing stargazing. So we thought that was a really great idea as well. And we wanted to accommodate that and have these guided tours at night so people could learn the constellations and have the chance to see the northern lights in such like a different multicultural experience such as this.
Right. And before, I just want to talk about general marketing. The whole experience that we're trying to propose is very Instagrammable. And as in the brochure, there's a little statistic about like 1/4 of millennials find it very important to be able to post things on social media. They want to post their experience, share it with the world, which is also free marketing in a sense. And word of mouth is always the best type of advertising. So that's a really good plus side to this. And then just some general marketing things that we wanted to talk about was also just social media. So when we were looking up the social media pages, we had a little bit of difficulty finding it because we were looking for like Lake Louise, like Twitter, and it was like nothing was showing up. So we had to go to your website to find it. And then we also looked at it, a lot of it is like slightly different. So like Lake Louise Ski Resort, some are gondola, some of it's just a summer gondola, some of it's just a ski resort. So we were thinking if you guys were to brand it as like one general thing where it's all cohesive, it makes it easier for people to find. Because the only way to find it was on the website. And even then, like hashtags on social media, when we looked on it, didn't necessarily go back to your webpage. So I think that would be a good start for you guys to be able to kind of make it more cohesive and easier to find for people. And then also the next thing is the website. So your website has a lot of information, which is great, but in today's age, a lot of websites have kind of simplified it to make it easier because it can be overwhelming if there's too much information. So for this in particular, there's like a lot of information, and if, like for me, I'd be a little bit overwhelmed as to where I want to go. Like, do I want a package? Do I want to pass on a product? Like, do I want vacation or activities and events? So if you guys could group it in a sense, and one example that I found to be like a sleek design is Google. So Google has it very simple. So there's just like a word, a photo, and then drop-down menus along the top where they're grouped together. We actually did a small mock-up of what you guys could do if you wanted to redesign it. So you could do something like this, where it's just one generic photo of the mountains in the background, very simple. Over here in this middle area, you could write like a slogan or just very small sentence that is impactful. So people could be like, wow, and then a little bottom arrow to show that there's more information down there. A search bar up here where the webcam, so the webcam is up front and everything. Products and services, that is where you group all of everything that you sell, whether it's passes, vacations, activities and events are going to be a separate package, not separate tab, because it's something that's not really related to anything else. Resources is where you would add like videos, photos, any sort of papers that you write, any testimonies, events, like maybe like if you're doing any newspaper articles or what have you, that would go in there, and an About Us page. So this is where you guys will talk about what you guys are as a company, what you believe. You're a family-owned company, so that's definitely something that you can push. And then also put something in there about sustainability, so corporate social responsibility. Our generation is really looking for that sort of thing because we want the world to be as good as it looks now, especially like Louise. It looks amazing, and we want it to stay that way. Like when we were all there, we found it breathtaking. So if you guys want to emphasize your social responsibility because you really do care about it and you try to do as much as you can to keep it that way, that would be great for people to be like, yeah, that's great, I want to go there. And the last thing we're going to talk about is YouTube ads. So YouTube is a very common platform. I'm sure all of us have used YouTube at one point. And I remember that video that you said about lookup. It was so impactful. So if you guys were to take that and put it in YouTube ads, it would make people interested, like without even having to say what it is or what it's from. I know that was Ski Big 3, which is all of them, but like videos just for Lake Louise that's like just as impactful would be great, or just Ski Big 3, whichever you decide to do would be great. And also the great thing is that Google Analytics targets people that are in your demographic. So you don't have to go out there and find them. Essentially, they do it for you. So for example, if people are interested in skiing or they're interested in glamping or just mountains in general, it will pop up automatically for them. You guys don't have to worry about any of that. And the great thing about this is that you guys control the budget. So you don't have to spend a bunch for them to find it. You control it, put as much as you want, and then they divvy it out how they see fit. And that is it. So we just wanted to end with experiencing the experience because we had a great experience together, and we hope that others would be able to have that as well. And now we will open to any questions that you have.
Thank you. Great job. I'm glad you guys loved the experience. That was an excellent presentation, so thank you for that. In terms of the glamping, I was just wondering if you've done any research in terms of like other glamping in other national parks or other comparables.
We did find a couple actually around the area of where you guys are at. They were a little bit off mountain, so I think they were like 2 or 3 hours away.
Some of them were in British Columbia as well, so we're not like necessarily saying put it in the park because we know there's strict regulations, but like in the outskirts or like just outside of Banff National Park. But there are examples throughout the area, especially in Canada.
Did you happen to see any that were tied to ski areas by chance? Or the glamping experiences?
So I believe they're just winter or wood skis. Yeah, like nature areas, but nothing specifically to skis, which is great for you guys.
Yeah.
This was more of like a product diversification type of thing. Because it's not something that you already do. It's not something that a lot of places do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of something that will help you stand out from the rest of the ski resorts in the area.
Thank you for your insights into our website. I was looking at our new website redesign this morning.
Hey!
So that's perfect because I don't really like it right now. So you gave me some really good ideas in terms of how to make the mock-up even better from where it is. So that's wonderful. And the thing that I loved very much was the idea about bringing the Indigenous in and the dinner and conversation. I think that's something that really appeals to travelers these days. So, yeah.
No, but yeah, the integration of that and the fireside international experiences, you can see that working really, really well.
Especially since you guys have so many different cultures coming to ski and like maybe they're first time skiers or they're a little nervous and they don't know anybody. Like it's a great way to get to know people and then have like that ski buddy that you can learn how to ski with. And you can hire like activity directors or something who can organize different weekends for different types of people through that as well.
And we were also saying if you guys want to go along with these plans, keep the groups like slightly smaller because we want to keep it more intimate so that people are able to not be afraid to talk to people. You know, if there's like 100 people, one person might not be approached, but if there's 20, everyone's going to get approached, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you a lot.
Great work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. See you again?
Yes, good to see you all.
Looking forward to your presentation.
Excited.
Thank you.
So once again, just reiterate, 12 minutes of presentation, 3 minutes of Q&A. I will give you 3 type cards. Interior, 5 minutes, 2 minutes. We'll start with time.
Yeah, thank you.
And time starts now.
Hello everyone, we are Team 10. My name is Federica and I'm from Italy.
I'm Camille, I'm from the United States.
I'm Cesar, I'm from Romania.
I'm Inila, I'm from Indonesia.
And my name is Daniela, I'm from Colombia.
Today we would like to present our business strategy to increase the amount of customers that they will look up to Lake Louise and Ski Big Tree over the next few seasons. We identify a promising and emerging market that will provide opportunity for growth between Ski Big Tree and China.
So, why China? Currently, China has their own fitness plan, national fitness plan, which involves more than 300 million populations in China to participate and also join Winter Olympics that will start in the main capital city called Beijing on 2022. As we know that China can be categorized as the most potential market around the world, especially for winter sports and also winter resort. In this part, we can say that Lake Louise resorts have a big chance to gaining more than 300,000 China people to go to Lake Louise to gain in one season. in the season. And also, it will be a beneficial and also useful because they will gaining a new experience about winter sports and also winter resorts, so they can implement their knowledge and also their experience to their country as the preparation for Beijing Olympics.
First of all, we would like to mention that 2018 was Canada's best year ever, with over 21 million visitors, and 6% of that is from China. So we interviewed my friend Mark. He's from China and he's just 10 years old. And as most of the Chinese people, he started his life sport when he was just 4, just showing passion for ski and for another winter sports. Apart of that, actually in China, kids are allowed to practice skiing when they're 4 or even 3 years old, the youngest one, but also they can participate in competitions when they reach the age of 6, which makes Lake Louise the perfect place to have a family experience at the ski resort. Also, what a better place to get some skills and practice and get expertise than from a family center national park ski resort. This is just make the people go there and have a really, really nice experience. Also with educational opportunities beyond skiing. Women, for example, have some tours, special tours that are provided. Also, we know that, feelings and emotions are not the same when someone just tell you a story. You have to live them by yourself, which will be there in your mind forever.
So there are many connections between Calgary and specifically Lake Louise with the Chinese market. And one of those is that they are both World Cup locations. You all have hosted the World Cup since 1980 at Lake Louise Ski Resort. And China is going to host it for the first time in Yanqing, which is near Beijing, this February coming up. So with that connection and also with the Beijing airport being one of the only ones in China that has a specific flight directly to Calgary, about 3 times a week and about 11 hours duration, and for a pretty good price because Chinese tend to be price sensitive toward flights rather than other accommodations. It could be between 600 and 800 Canadian dollars for a round trip flight from Beijing to Calgary in the winter. Also, it is very convenient for Chinese residents to get a visa to travel from China to Calgary with the Canadian embassy located in Beijing. So our marketing strategy promotes this sort of bundle where they can get their visa, their flight, stay at the ski accommodations, and have an individualized experience that will help them toward their goal of getting the 300 million people interested in winter sport by the Beijing Olympics, and also meet the Lake Louise needs of getting more visitors with diverse backgrounds and different experiences.
So as a next step, Lake Louise is here to create an individual experience for their target market by connecting to the Chinese culture. So first of all, in order to create an amazing moments and amazing memories, it is crucial to ensure an amazing gastronomical experience for them. So basically making them forget about the creepy noodles coming in a plastic box and offering them a great variety of Chinese cuisine, from freshly made dumplings to spring rolls, kung pao chicken, all served in a whiskey jack lodge, so connecting China to Canada. So besides eating familiar food and having a great time by on slopes, why not offering a great and amazing time also off slopes? And by off slopes, I do not mean country skiing in the woods, but I mean other activities that could be performed by these Chinese visitors. For instance, have you heard by Jiangsu? It's a very amazing and simple Chinese national sport. The main aim of the game of this game being to make this shuttlecock assuming the image held in the air by using your bodies apart from your hands. Basically, it's like badminton without rackets, but using your body instead, mainly your foot. So just imagine an opportunity for this Chinese family going there and being able to split into the dad and the son going on slopes and having an amazing time by skiing, while on the other hand, the mom and the daughter having the opportunity to try out some other activities such as Jiangsu. And why not, besides Jiangsu, offer also other opportunities such as table tennis or Kuju, which is the very famous national football sport in China, or also like massage and spa, so they can have the best experience while being there.
So the core of our strategy will be digital marketing through WeChat. WeChat is a super app that connects everyone in China, and it is vital to use this tool in order to reach the Chinese market. The first step would be to create an official account for Lake Louise and Ski Big 3, and we advise a service account, which allows to send one push message every single day. We envision also our strategy in a three-step process. First, we will need to attract the customer, so to make them follow our account, and we will do that by making the account easy to identify, search, and spread. Second, we will need to convert them. We will do that by implementing strong interaction and involving them in conversation and sharing by using the function of the app called Moments. Third, we will need to influence them so they will advertise Lake Louise and the whole area among their friends. Another important function of the app is called WeChat Pay, which is Chinese favorite method of payment. It is very important to integrate these in the new app that will come up soon from you guys because they really love and it's very, very convenient. We also have other tips related to the Chinese culture. First, build trust. It can be demanding and a long-term relationship, but it really pays off on the long run. Our suggestion is to send representatives from Ski Big 3 every single year to talk with the Winter Sport Administrative Center in China in order to develop and keep this relationship. Second, tell your story. Chinese are very family-oriented and also they like tradition. So Lake Louise and Ski Big 3 should outline the family-owned aspect of the business as well as the natural park location. Third, be transparent. Transparency is appealing to the Chinese customer, and we suggest to do that by sharing them the future plan, always through the administrative center from China, and just keep developing the trust and the relationship over time.
As a next step, we forecasted the number of potential customers that Lake Louise could reach from China, mainly from Beijing. And we prepared 3 scenarios for that, an optimistic, a realistic, and a pessimistic one. So I'm going to present a realistic scenario, the forecast for the winter season that means from November to May, sorry, and the number of potential Chinese customers that Lake Louise could attract. So as you can see, in 2019, in a realistic scenario, 300,000 Chinese skiers could get to Lake Louise. As well as moving forward in time, this number is has an increasing tendency for 2023, reaching 420,000 Chinese skiers in Lake Louise. And as you can see, even for our pessimistic scenario, Lake Louise would be able to attract 360,000 Chinese skiers by 2023 to Lake Louise.
So in conclusion, there are many connections that would allow Lake Louise and Ski Big 3 to connect with the Chinese market and help them towards their goal, towards the Beijing Olympics, while the Chinese market also helps Ski Big 3 reach their goal as the capacity increases at Lake Louise Ski Resort. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Nice line to look.
Any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer.
Just wondering a little bit about your projections and how you kind of arrived at those, what kind of the thinking behind that was.
Yeah, so as of now, the capacity, he said, is about 6,000 per day, and so we multiplied that by the about 30 days per month for your ski season to arrive at about over 1,300,000 skiers in one season to come stay at Lake Louise with your current capacity. And so if we got 23% of that to be the Chinese market through WeChat and other marketing strategies this summer and this fall and going into the World Cup, then we'd be able to get the 0.1% of the 300 million that they're trying to reach interested in winter sport at Lake Louise.
Do you have a sense of who is getting the visitation now from China, where the skiers are going?
So actually, European center, I really try to get this market. I think Lake Louise has all the capacity to do the same. And so yeah, mostly I think it's like Switzerland right now and Austria.
Yeah, there's coming a lot now.
Yeah. But with WeChat, it's actually like like if you have an expert in WeChat, it's really like exponential the growth that you can have. So yeah, and you can either like get an expert inside your company or outsource to.
I've been the Winter Sports Administrative Center, who's in charge of their national fitness plan.
I love the idea of, introducing sports that they're already familiar with, because it takes away kind of that scare factor. I don't ski, but I can do that.
Yeah, we also add that like as an incentive for other culture to come, because I've noticed that, for instance, I'm from Europe and I really like Asian culture. So whenever I'm going on a trip, say like here, I would love to kind of experience a little bit of culture. So this would be advertised also to other target market. We focus on China, but this can be a driver also for other ethnicity as well.
Or even local Canadians can also experience the Asian culture.
Also, you always came back when you were happy. So if you had a nice experience, you probably would go back again.
And tell the story to other friends so they can go back to the place with other people.
Honestly, you can feel going there, like the family aspect, just like anything, yeah.
Is there anything that you think that the Chinese visitor might find kind of disconcerting, or that we might be able to do to make it an easier experience for them after your visit at the field?
You can go. I mean, I think just the WePay, WeChat Pay feature would be the best, because they were able to hopefully book their trip through that as well. Sort of the bundle package for convenience, and also using your app would be more convenient too. And I like how you said that after the trip, some people look back at the videos on the website and still see the webinars of what the mountain looks like or what the slopes look like at a time. So that could even be implemented into WeChat and the app as well.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We loved working on the project. It was so fun.
You can tell.
Yeah,
A lot of work in there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
The number one place Chinese people want to visit is Lake Louise. They only think for 2 trips of the summer.
Yeah.
I lived in China for many years.
Okay.
And
Summer. Yeah, thanks.
Amazing what the Chinese media can do to help guide perceptions around that.
yeah.
Thank you. Hi. Hello. How are you? Nice to see you again.
Yes, good to see you.
Thank you.
So it's getting very hot here the next week. Are you ready to listen to some chilling ideas?
Absolutely. Nice segue.
So we
Do
are.
not start until I give you the signs.
Oh, sorry.
You guys are too excited.
Yes, we are.
Are you like this?
Sneak a couple more minutes in there.
I will see.
You want to put it on the slideshow? I know how to.
Let me scroll through. It's fine.
It's already.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's a good.
Yeah.
We've obviously waited. We just read the video instructions.
Okay.
Total time is 12 minutes. We present 3 minutes of Q&A. I will be using time cards as check marks. 5 minutes remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Basically, after 30 seconds of over, we stop the video and we will proceed. We start earlier, but we will continue until 15 minutes ends.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, so we are team 4.
Yet to start.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you.
Okay, please tell when you
Sorry,
want us to start. We are
I
ready.
said we were ready. That was my fault.
We're set.
so excited.
Alright, start.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so we are Team 4. We are Polar X. And I'm Natalie Hensel. I'm from the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, studying in marketing and information technology.
My name is Matteo. I came from Italy, but I'm studying and working in London, and especially for art investments and art finance projects.
My name is Camille. I come from France, and my major are human resources and CSR.
My name is Claudia. I go to UNC Greensboro. I'm studying international business and entrepreneurship.
Our recommendation is a polar wonderland.
So why a polar wonder? Why do you think? Because we are an international team, we try to leverage the expertise and international cultural diversity we are arising from our backgrounds and different experiences. To the recommendation we are going to introduce you now, we pick up the best of our countries and the best of ourselves. We were very, very involved. But what is we are going to do? It is called Polar Wonderland, and now in detail we are going to explain this thing.
So when you have contacted X Culture, you are looking for the development of activities during winter.
Yeah, so when we were there, we were very fortunate to get to talk to a lot of people in the town of Banff and even at our resort. And we just asked questions like, oh, so what would families enjoy? Or is this your first time here? And we really got a lot of valuable, insightful information from the locals and first-time visitors. So that kind of influenced a lot of our presentation.
And so for our initial experience at Lake Louise Ski Resort, we saw that you were looking for children activities, and so we are targeting families with children under 12 years old, children who love to play with other children, but also discover nature and animals.
Yeah. So, about the 5-year plan and kind of where this would fit in, but this polar wonderland is really just, we don't want it to just be a playground, but it would be a magical experience when we walk in. And there's going to be an ice slide. So depending upon funding and things like that, you could make it fully ice slide with influence from European ice hotels and ice bars.
It is because we drew inspiration from what we saw and we enjoyed a lot. And for example, I is the one in London, she is the one in Stockholm. And at first we thought, oh, it might be great if you could replicate something like this in ice at Lake Louise. But then with a better look at the long-range plan, we realized that it would be extremely costly, not nature-friendly, and would address only the winter season, because ice needs to be replaced, and then it's not very eco-friendly, let's say. So since sustainability is at the center of the long-range plan, we want to imitate this idea to recreate the sensation and the experience of ice, but not the proper ice. So it can also be used during the summer, when most of the families come. And maybe since they find it a joyful experience, they may come back during the winter. The psychographic traits you gave us were baby boomer, affluent, so which is not very likely to be skiing the next 40 years. With all the good intention and hope for these people. Yeah.
Yes. But so what this room would be for specifically under 12-year-olds, they have the ice slide, it's really going to be educational based with sections for grizzly bears, different animals that are located within the natural forest. And the activities could be an ice mold, which is where the kids could come with their parents and put water into a mold like a moose ears or a Canadian maple leaf, or really any mold that you could find, kind of like a cave mold. And then they come back after lunch or skiing or hiking and say, oh, I could take pictures with it, put it on social media, dress it up in fun little outfits. And then we also have the maple lollipop, which is where it would be a big table just filled with ice, and it's a popular thing among little kids who just pour the maple syrup, wrap it up, and take it to go. It's very easy.
Eat it and gone.
Yeah, eat it and gone. So those would all be associated with educational animal-based activities. So a little bit more about what the room would look like with our design.
Okay. So as my colleagues have said, we finally found our target and we're targeting kids. And so just to give you a bit of an idea of what exactly it is that we are thinking of, we created this blueprint. And so as soon as the kid walks in, they would just be memorized by this big ice slide. And then there would be snow all around the slide, and so they would just go on the slide and slide around and play in the snow. And then from the slide, there would be different pathways of snow. So the children could choose a pathway, and they would go to, let's say, a grizzly bear section. And in that section, they would learn about the wildlife, and they would get to do activities, kind of like the lollipops or the cake ice molds, or they could go to the mountain goat, and they could learn about the mountain goats, and they could do another activity. And another thing we were thinking is when we learn about the bear, we can maybe have like a section where it's kind of like a Build-A-Bear, if you stuff a grizzly bear or something.
Okay, so kind of a silly skit to imitate what it would be like walking into Polar Wonderland. We are having our 9-year-old Claudia act as our actress, coming here for the first time with her family.
Okay, so I'm walking in. Wow, Mom, look at the slide. It's an ice slide. It's so cool. Look at the kids walking around with the lollipops. It's awesome. I want to go build a bear. Wow, there's a bear right here.
Whoa, I'm a grizzly Mateo. Thank you for activating me. Do you know that I can eat up to 40 kilos for food per day? And indeed, the muscle I use more is my shoulder here, and I spend most of my day looking for food. But I know that here in Lake Louise, you're very friendly, because I know that I saw your passages, natural corridor passages on the highway. So if you're lucky, you can see me there soon when you come back.
Now I want to go learn about the mountain goat. Thank you.
Yeah, so although that was silly, it would just be a very interactive experience and something very unique to other playground type of educational things. Definitely not a museum, definitely not just a playground, a very interactive way to put it together. So, yeah.
Do you have
up for questions?
Now it's your turn.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. I love the skit.
Love our jokes.
No, that was good. I really appreciated that. First of all, your whole presentation was very professional, and I was very impressed that when you were in destination, you actually took the time to talk to visitors.
Yeah.
So really
Yeah, we literally stopped the people.
Yeah,
there.
they were so happy to talk to us.
Yeah, and they said, yes, we would like to hear something more about you. Keeps you.
It's okay, no, okay.
Yeah, also we had the chance to talk to the restaurant manager on top of the very insightful. It was that the restaurant is mainly used for celebrations.
Yeah, they said there were a lot of celebrations.
Okay, so just questions wise, I don't have a lot, but I love that idea of ice molds. I was in Disney World with my niece, and she paid $20 for a sand mold of a dolphin. Yeah. And then her brother needed one.
Yeah, so we gotta do more.
So have you thought about pricing for any of this, or was your idea that this would be kind of free at the base area, or would there be some kind of cost associated? Have you given any, have you thought about that?
So it would definitely be up to what is put in, because ice slide, we didn't look into logisticals of how much that is, but you could manipulate something to look similar to that. So, I mean, going rates of parks like this that have similar features, at least where I'm from in North Carolina, it's like hundreds of dollars, but that's with the hotels. So I think you could charge at least entry fee of $40 for a day pass, or even just less than that, a couple hours.
Yeah, it can be split by the normal ski tourist pass.
Yeah.
Because there can be something that catalyzes and attracts a different type of tourist, not just the skier. So if you can keep it, like we were inspired by the gondola.
Yeah.
Because the three of them do not ski, but they still appreciate. I'm the only skier in the group, but we were here during the summer, and so in a maybe similar way. Because we saw that in the long range, in the range plan, there is the ski base area, educational at the
Exactly, yeah, and we're going to we have a space for that, and we just haven't put any ideas in terms of what's gonna go there, but we were just completely inspired.
Well, we wanted it to be very versatile, because you wanted winter, but this could also go into summer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can change within it. big lantern based or very
In
large.
Europe, there are fun parks like Playmobil or Legoland, who really are open 365 per day. And I remember when I was younger, when I was very kid, I did the treasure hunt of small golden things in a very simple river. And this would like to sort of emulate very simple, not excessively costly, but still you have an impressive landscape, impressive assets you can leverage on. And come on, in Germany, no. So if they made it there, you can easily.
Yeah.
In your conversations engaging with people that are visiting, how many of them that you spoke with would come back in the winter?
That was a hard thing because, so one of the restaurants we went to is the Maple Leaf Restaurant in downtown Graham. The waiters were very negative towards winter tourism. They were like, oh, it's not cool and it's not fun. So,
Interesting.
So we were very put down by that. So maybe there would be a promotional thing to get the town to back tourism, which I think would be necessary.
Some cross-marketing.
Yeah, a lot of people, it was their first time there, so
Some
kind of passing by, it's hard to talk to them.
Strategic partnership with the airport, because the direct flights from the UK are very comfortable.
Yeah.
Or something new, engaging,
Yeah.
like I don't know, snap codes or QR codes put here and there. Which
Yeah,
are
we
very
noticed
simple.
on the gondola ride, there was room for advertising.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Oh, visit Polar Wonderland. Or come back soon. If you scan this link, you'll get 10% discount next time.
Yeah. Perfect.
Possibilities are as high as the mountain. So.
Good idea, it's a great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. This opportunity has been wonderful.
It's Polar wonderful.
It's wonderful. All right. Do you want us to log in?
It's okay.
Okay.
Good job.
That's all.
Okay.
See you on the next ski season.
Yes, we'll definitely be back. Thank you.
Hey, nice to see you again. Good to see you.
Please load up the slides.
You guys doing okay? You
Yeah.
water anything?
I'm doing great, thank you.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Down over there.
After people are walking out in tears now.
Yes, they are.
We're
Especially
kidding.
outside.
For this presentation, for this Q&A, I will give you 3 time cards, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and 30 seconds. If the time exceeds, I will stop your presentation immediately. If you end earlier, you'll get some time for the end. So I will give you time to start.
Are you starting?
No.
Sorry.
Time starts.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ved. I'm from Oman.
My name is Fred from the US.
I'm Shambo from Sri Lanka.
My name is Daniel Foka from Ghana.
And we are Team 25. So based on our ski markets analysis, we found out that many of the company's customers are coming from Australia, Canada, or the US. And the company's goal is to attract more of younger global people. That's why we came up with 4 wonderful strategies, which are, so our strategies, the first strategy is Sky Big Annual Fest, and the second one is museum exhibition. The third strategy is business partnership, and the fourth strategy is certification and training. And these all connected together. So the first strategy is Ski Big Annual Fest. Imagine how do you guys know Shakira? I guess obviously everyone knows Shakira. So Shakira has a very strong fan space in US and in North America and South America and Africa, Australia, all over the world. So she has a very strong fan space. So that imagine bringing Shakira to the ski resort, which will bring a lot of people will attract a lot of young people to the resort. That's why we came up with the idea of the full day package including a concert. The full day package will be, people will purchase the tickets online through the company's website, and which will be for 150. And the full day starts from morning at 10:30 till 1:30. During that time, that period of time, people will be skiing in the resort. At 2 p.m., they will have a short break from 2 to 4 p.m. They will have a break for lunch, for a food break, which will be in one of the company's restaurants, for example, like Yumayama and the Power on Key Lunch, and many other restaurants in the resort. At 4:30, the transportation will be provided to pick them up from the resort to the concert location, which will be like a few minutes away from the resort, just because to have near the train station place, to have more space for any closed tent. The concert will start at 6 p.m. till evening, and then they will be returned back to the resort. And the people experience will be posted online and on social media, just to let others know about the ski resort services. And also another thing we thought of, why don't we ask the artists themselves, the artists that we will bring there, to announce the event on their social media, because people then will know about the event and will attract them to come to the resort. Also, during their stay while they are staying in the resort for the event, we will ask these tourists, these artists, to share their videos and share photos through social media while they're enjoying their time in the resort, to attract people, and people will feel curious and they will want to know more about the resort, and it will bring them to the resort. And lastly, the full day package will be combined in one price instead of having multiple prices for people.
Okay. So in the same vein, that we also realize that incorporating or creating museum into the package would also be a fantastic idea, because research has proven that, in the US, research has proven that a lot of young people today will go to museums than go to a sport event. So why don't we add something like museum exhibition that is connected to the people of Lake Louise? Because we realize that Lake Louise has culture, they have family, they are family oriented, and they have a community. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to bring a renowned artist to create something wonderful that will showcase the community of Lake Louise. And again, these people will also have the opportunity to have a photo booth. They'll have picture section. They'll take pictures after they are visiting this museum, and these pictures will be framed in a wonderful edifice to these visitors as present, so that when they go to their home country or wherever they came from, they can show these pictures and exhibit it to the world. This will create a lot of opportunities, and the world will see what Lake Louise have, and with the community and their culture. We have a picture that depicts this theory that we want to recommend, that we want to put across. For example, if you come to Lake Louise and you have the opportunity to share your memories you have with such traditional people, with their attire, with whatever they have, and showcase the world, I think this idea will bring a lot of global people, young people to Lake Louise to also come and see it here. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred. So I'm going to be talking about two strategies which are going to complement each other. So the first thing is the international business partnership. I know that you guys already have a lot of partnership on your icon pass with most of the ski resorts. But here I'm talking about areas like Middle East or South Africa, which you probably have not reached out to yet, including other areas like Japan or Chile, which you have also reached out to. But the thing is, we're going to sell the ticket under the name Lake Louise. But the service will be provided by these ski resorts in other far corners in the world that you cannot reach. Ultimately, I know our goal is to get people to Lake Louise. Therefore, we're going to introduce a reward system. Every time you access these services in these far corners in the world, you earn points. And let's say, for example, you get 10 points or 25 points. You're going to use these points to redeem a discount or a package to come to Lake Louise. For someone who hasn't got this experience before, you're giving them a little taste of it from a place that is close by, close to home. And once you develop that curiosity and you look at the ticket, okay, this ticket is from Lake Louise. What can I do to actually go get the experience of the real deal? You're actually creating curiosity in the young minds to go and find out what this hype is all about at Lake Louise. The next idea that is incorporated into it is about certification and training programs. I'm aware that there are ski training programs available in Canada and worldwide, but for example, when I say fashion, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Milan, Italy. Our goal is to say, whenever someone says ski training, oh yeah, Lake Louise. You gotta go to Lake Louise to get your accreditation. When you have partners leading universities and colleges all around the world to have short courses or modules for ski training. But the tricky part is you're going to have a graduation ceremony at Lake Louise. That's the cherry on top. So everyone's looking forward to come to Lake Louise, finish their course and graduate. Now I know this opens up internship opportunities and Robin can have prospective staff members, but the tricky thing is you're going to send these people back to where they came from, back to Asia, back to Africa, and they're going to be your Lake Louise representative in these places, spreading awareness, spreading the name Lake Louise, creating curiosity, creating the buzz. Guys, we're from Lake Louise. Once you finish your three courses here, I'll take you back there and I'll show you what the real deal is. This is going to introduce your brand to the world, create access to new markets. It's going to bring popularity for Lake Louise, but also for the sport of skiing in general. And not immediately, but ultimately, this is going to attract a lot of new, young, global clients to Lake Louise. Daniel?
Judges, reps from Lake Louise, we strongly believe that if these 4 ideas articulated by my team members are carefully evaluated and implemented, we believe it will trigger expectation in terms of growth, in terms of numerical strength, in terms of financial sustainability. This is what Louise is looking for, and that is the expectation of Louise Sky Resort. Thanks for your attention and listening to us.
You guys put a lot of thought and effort into that, and there are some really great ideas there, so not thank you enough.
Well done, starting and finishing with and wrapping it all back together. It's good.
Any questions for us?
Yeah, just in terms of the Ski Big Fest, in terms of the music aspects, I was just wondering if you had given any thought to some creative ideas that we could use that sort of idea, but maybe not such a loud festival. Is there some kind of things that people are doing with music that's maybe a little bit less intrusive, less loud for the wildlife?
So just to begin with, I forget to mention that the festival will be in March after the Ice Magic Festival, because you said that in March and April there's less people.
Yeah.
So we want to keep attracting people all year.
Sure.
So we also thought of like bringing Shakira and bringing Trapinoa, so people will have the option of having more fun.
Right.
Like for example, they will start with a startup comedy where people like to laugh, everyone likes to laugh. So and after that they will start with like a singer or something. So like there's more option for them to have like a variety of like to enjoy their night more.
Right.
And let me add up to what she said. The idea of bringing Shakira is not to give a loud concert or something, but her followers are so great. So we want her followers to come to Lake Louise to have that experience. So it could be very quiet one day to have experience with Shakira herself and also experience the community of Lake Louise.
Yeah. And just one last thing, because we know like young generation, for example, people like us in their 20s and 30s, when they love someone and they have like an icon or an artist they love, they will follow them all over the world.
Right.
So like, why don't we bring Shakira here and bring all her followers and all her fans to like Louise? So they will listen to her. And also like, this is the idea of the full package day. So like, it will start from morning till night, and it's not just for young people, but also families could use that time. They will come to the resort, enjoy their time skiing, and then having food, which is everything will be combined in one price instead of paying the different like prices for everything separately. And another thing that why we connected our ideas together, that for example, for people who doesn't want to ski, they could use that time and go to the museum. So they have like all variety and options too.
Did you happen to uncover anywhere what Shakira's talent fee is by chance? Any idea what she charges?
Well, it depends on your negotiations.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Think you have time to run to the washroom with that?
Yes, yes, we are able to.
Okay, great. Because you're on it.
Just waiting for about.
Hi guys. Hi. You may have noticed that she's on a short break, but we'll be back shortly.
You made it.
Yeah, exactly. You guys all have fun this week?
Yeah.
You saw this almost over, or are you still having a little both?
I got to see bears soon.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. I put in a phone call and asked the parents to check for you. It seems like they did. Thank you so much. I'm sorry?
Do you need some more evaluation sheets?
Yeah, actually, I could use some more.
I'm just clicking that, yeah?
You could try to see what is the other. Thank you.
So just make sure the instructions give. So for this presentation, 3 minutes Q&A. I will use these time cards. Excuse. 5 minutes left. 2 minutes left. 30 seconds left. So if the time is 30 seconds and 12 minutes out, I'll cut you off the presentation. If the end of here, then the during the time will extend for further than 3 minutes.
Well, if you end over 12 minutes, the Q&A is longer.
Okay,
You get 15 minutes, however way you want.
so what?
You have at least 10 of these.
I think I might have it.
You should have the minute. The minute one.
Yeah.
The 5 minutes started.
See if you get on that. Which number is this? Is this the fourth or fifth one?
We have 4 more left.
Yeah, they have extra.
Yeah, we got.
One more team left? Oh, yeah, fine.
Yeah, I got 4 pairs. So you
That was my OT.
Thank you.
Bring one over.
All right.
I'll exercise you guys don't. So give me those other ones back. I'll throw those away now.
So let me start. Or should we?
Yes, on 52 to start.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon. First and foremost, we would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the indigenous people of 87. To give an introduction, my name is Adil Raza from the U.S.
I'm John Kalakar, I'm from the US.
I'm Eliza Tester from Australia. I am Safa Saeed from Oman.
We wanted to thank you right off the bat for the awesome experience you gave us on Wednesday. I'm sure I'm speaking for the entire collective group when I say it's one we'll never forget. So our overarching idea is called the reinvention of Lake Louise. The easiest way for you guys to remember that is the 3 R's. Restructure, remarket, reinvent. I personally will be talking about the restructure section. We wanted to start with restructuring because it's the most important first point of contact, namely the website. In the webinar presentation, you guys stated how the majority of your sales are done through the website, about 80%. And we realized that there's a little couple of tips and tricks we could add to it. It's the vital first point of contact between you and the customer. While conducting our own research, we found that the Ski Big 3 website is not the first one that pops up when you do a search engine for Lake Louise in the US, Australia, India, or even right here in Canada. If you want to take a look up at the screen real quick, if you search up Lake Louise in the US, you should advance Lake Louise Tourism website first, with a couple of options, then the Ski Louise, and there's no presence of the Ski Big 3. On the next slide, we'll show you the UK, which is one of your target markets. It has the Ski Louise, but it has a lot of information because before you get to the Ski Big 3. And then same thing when you do it in Australia, you actually get a map first if you type in Lake Louise Ski, instead of getting that Ski Big 3 website right away. And so we realized that there needs to be something that's done for this. So our first proposal would be an attempt at unifying the 2 websites. This is done through having both of them together. Essentially, we want to make the user experience easiest and have your search engine optimization the highest we possibly can. However, we do know that it is a bit of a business conflict if you have 2 different certain entities. So our second proposal, which is what's up on the screen at the moment, is to have the Ski Big 3 website, the main one, but have Lake Louise almost as an offshoot or a link on it. An awesome example of this is actually where I'm from, Wisconsin. We have the biggest water park capital. It's 10 different companies, all under the arch of the Wisconsin Dells. It does the exact structure you guys are attempting to use at Ski Big 3, and it's working really well for them. So they have the overall website of Wisconsin Dells, and then they have the link to each of the individual parks that are owned by different companies. It's an awesome template for you guys to use if you want to look at it. It will increase the overall website presence of all the ones you guys have. And then our second one for that would to possibly make the Lake Louise website almost like a subdomain of Ski Big 3. This would mean they're separate on search engines, yet still have an SEO increase at the same time any of them is visited. It's a small change that would have a huge impact, whether you're searching for information where I live, a couple hours away in the US, or halfway around the world like Eliza in Australia. So our overall goal is to have the best user experience so everybody possible can have the experience we did and visit our amazing national park. Next, Jonathan will be talking about our second R, which is marketing.
So in a world of social media, influence is a key driver in attracting target markets. We believe that with the right influence, brands are able to directly reach new markets efficiently with the touch of a button. We believe that by expanding and enhancing the demographics of influencers to inexperienced skiers, different ethnic groups, young families, and groups of friends through platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, that the culture of skiing at Lake Louise will change for the better. We hope that these influencers will be able to share their experiences, like taking their first ski lesson with their family, to taking a ski lift or a gondola ride, and even going to your restaurants and enjoying your other winter amenities. We've gone ahead and taken the opportunity to choose a few influencers that fit directly in this market. The first one is Anita Boneka. She has about 117,000 followers. She's an avid traveler, and she's also a fellow Canadian, so she brings in the local market as well as a global one. Next is Shanice Crystal. She has about 256,000 followers on Instagram and 557 subscribers on YouTube. She's an avid traveler. She has a travel blog, and she also has a life and fitness and lifestyle blog.
She usually travels in a group of friends, so this expands the market to bring in more people to come in. Last but not least, we have Latoya Ali. She has 674,000 followers on Instagram and 1.4 million subscribers on YouTube. She travels often, and usually she's with her family or friends, and she also has a fitness and health and lifestyle blog. She fits into most of our sectors, being an inexperienced skier, an ethnic woman, and she has a young family, so it creates some tradition there. The benefit of expanding your target markets is exponential. We created a survey this week, and we had about 150 people interact with that, mostly millennials, and about 74% of those people said that they follow influencers, and 53% of that 74% stated that they're most likely to buy into an experience if it has a positive review. I know for me and like most millennials, when we see somebody that we look like and we look up to, we're most likely to try the things that they do. So we believe that through these experiences, they can often create traditions for the years to come, especially within the sector of young families and groups of friends. Now, Eliza will be speaking about the second half of our remarketing stage.
So the second part of our revamp proposal is retargeting. Retargeting is a way for you to connect with people who previously interacted with your website or similar sites. It allows you to post advertisements or videos on the devices of these audiences as they browse through Google, Facebook, and other online platforms. Retargeting will not only increase your brand awareness, but it will remind audiences of what they're missing out on and ultimately increase interest in your product. In addition, it enables customers to find your website again. And as Nabil has already stated, especially in an international scale, your website presence is somewhat confusing, and so directing them to the specific website they need to be at through retargeting would be very beneficial. The average conversion rate for any first-time visitor on any website, irrespective of their traffic, is 2%. So through retargeting, you'll be able to reach out and engage with that 98% of people who have landed on your website but have not purchased a product or taken that next step. Like Louise has already said, that you've created videos targeting couples, families, and singles. So through utilizing static retargeting, you'll be able to target those specific groups with the respective videos. For example, if someone is showing interest in the summer family lift ski pass, then their retargeted advertisement would be that video that you've created for families. With this reach and easy promotion, it leads to an increased brand awareness and is significantly more strategic than traditional advertising, with a CTR rate 3 to 10 times higher than the industry average. In addition, customers are 4 times more likely to be encouraged to buy a product if they see a relevant ad during their product research period. There are 2 methods of retargeting, and we recommend that you invest in both of them. So there's the on-site, which are people that have interacted with your website but not taken the next step, and they'll be retargeted on other websites or social media. And then the next one is off-site. So they've engaged with a website that sells a similar product or a similar experience, and then you'll be retargeting them and drawing them onto your site. In addition, this works really well with your app that's in development, because the cookies you collect from that can be used to retarget that same audience. There are several professional retargeting services, and we recommend 2. The first is Perfect Audience, which has a stronger focus on social media and mobile devices. And the second is Google Remarketing, which reaches people through 2 million websites and mobile apps. We are obviously not entirely sure if you're using retargeting already, and if you are, then our recommendation would be to probably revamp that, because we did conduct our own investigations and went on various websites, and we weren't retargeted at all. We were retargeted by your competitors, so that was really interesting. And if you aren't, which is what our assumption is, then we would recommend that you definitely invest in this product, because the advantages are immense and is a very effective revamp of your current online presence. It'll allow you to target a larger demographic through social media, etc., and it'll also increase overall traffic. So now I'm going to introduce you to Safa, who's going to be going on to our next stage, which is the reinvention stage.
The final stage is reinvention. We suggest here a 3-step plan to increase customer interaction and attract new people to the website. We know you have a webcam on the mountain, which are popular in winter. However, sometimes these webcams become blurry and the picture are bad quality. So we suggest you invest in virtual reality system. But VR is where the customer is able to look around, move around in it, and interact with the virtual features. And this will gonna through 3 steps. Step 1 would be to take videos of people on the mountain and post them. This could be mainly focused on beginners, so we can attract those they do not love skiing. Increasing the possible market will be the best outcome. Step 2 will be utilize those videos and more the mountain to create Google Maps style program, which would allow people to click through and view the mountain from pictures merged together. This will be similar to Google Maps, as a skier would have a camera attached to them. The final step is to have complete VR skiing experience for first timer or people simply wanting to relive the thrill. The map used in part 2 can be programmed to become a full VR experience. This long-term project will show return immediately as it builds on your already successful webcams and will continue to build upon its own success. Here we are gonna some facts about virtual reality improvement and its relationship to tourism sectors. 84%, we find that 84% of Canadian AR and VR companies are focused on building content as opposite to platform. This is a positive because content will be an area that will really move the needle as the technologies continue to evolve. The technologies are seeing a surge in Vancouver, which is quickly becoming a Canadian hub for VR companies. And that concludes our reinvention stage proposal.
Yes, so to conclude, we hope that we have thoroughly and effectively presented the reinvention of Lake Louise to you all today. There are 3 R's, which is restructure, remarket, and reinvent. Now we'll open the floor to some questions.
Great job. Nice work talking about that.
Yeah. Well, good job, and I think we had a lot of insights we can take away, so Ken, thank you for that. Which competitors were you retargeted by?
I don't know their name exactly because they did disappear kind of quickly after I started looking into it, but it was one of the US ones,
Okay.
and it was also one of the, I don't know exactly where it was. I can get back to you after if you like, or email you. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And were
I didn't
you
pay
using a
attention.
proxy?
We kind of just basically, I use different devices, so I did on my phone. I looked through their Instagram pages, their Facebook. I went on their website and clicked around for about 20 minutes and just went through it. And I kind of did what I'd normally do because when you go online shopping, if I've been on a website for like 10 minutes, immediately my Facebook is just spammed with that website and the ads. So I just kind of went about it the same way. And I don't know if it was the other.
Were you using a VPN as if you were in Australia and the
No,
US, or was it
I did-
local search?
I did a little bit at home, but I did it here as well. So it should pop up as a Canadian.
It should,
One
because
as
solely
well.
because we were looking at Instagrams of your competitors to see what the look like. I think that's what it was. I mean, we were probably sitting in this room.
I was in this room when I
Okay.
started doing it when you guys were, when we had that interaction. But I had looked into it back home first, but that wasn't a major kind of investigation.
No, great job.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Like this piece.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want me to email you?
Yeah, you can send me an email, sure.
Keeps our digital
It was also a lot easier when seeing some familiar faces that we were already been talking to. So I think it lightened the mood a bit. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I was just after some kind of promotion from like.
Do you guys need any water?
I would have kind of accepted, but I was mainly on the Lake Louise website.
Gotcha.
Sorry, it's down, but.
So here we go, we integrate the instructions for you. It's 12 minutes to present, 3 minutes to Q&A. Release. So I will give you 3 time cues. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. So the time ends after 30 seconds, you'll have a solid presentation. We end earlier than the Q&A will extend until the end. Ready? You all ready?
Good afternoon. We are team number 13. Ahmed is our name. It's an African name that means to be of the brave spirit. Consequently, this is a combination of all our names. So
I'm Isabel from Germany. I'm Marina from the US.
I'm Ali from the US.
I'm David from the US.
And I'm Eva from Kenya.
So our idea for Ski Big 3 in Lake Louise is to split it up into a 2-part. The first will be attraction, which will be specifically with Ski Big 3, and then we're going to split it to retention, which will focus specifically on the kids.
So first, we're going to start with attraction. In 2018, a study was done that 9% of all Europeans participate in winter games, such as skiing and snowboarding. So how are we going to bring them through Calgary? By partnering with the Winter X Games. The X Games are going to be hosted in Calgary from 2020 to 2022. The Calgarian mayor recently projected that over $75 million is going to be brought into the Calgary area per year that the X Games are here. And he hopes to land Calgary as the permanent home of the Winter X Games. In 2018, there were over 11 million worldwide viewers of the Winter X Games, including over 53.8 million interactions on social media, which include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So the question is, how are we going to bring and hit the young demographic that we want to bring to Calgary and Ski Big 3? We're going to do that through our photo challenge, hashtag Ski Big 3 Photo Challenge. Each day during the Winter X Games, participants will be able to post a photo that they believe best represents the Winter X Games and Ski Big 3 on their social media, with a winner being selected each day to receive a pass to ski at Lake Louise and Ski Big 3. We also believe that this should continue to go on throughout the entirety of the year, but a winner being selected each month to receive that ski pass to ski up to a year after they won that. This will help keep Lake Louise and Ski Big 3 on the social media grid, as well as it'll help bring in repeat skiers to Lake Louise and Ski Big 3 throughout the year. Our next idea, who wouldn't want to hit the slopes with world-renowned athletes following the X Games? Our idea is to partner with athletes such as Scotty James from Australia, Mark McMorris from Canada, Chloe Kim from the United States, Henrik Harlu from Sweden, and rising talent Kelly Solar from Estonia to ski at Ski Big 3 and after the Winter X Games. This will help bring in that young demographic that would want to ski at Lake Louise and the Winter X Games following. We believe that it should continue to partner each month with athletes to bring in to ski at Lake Louise. And that will continue to bring the young demographic every month into Lake Louise. This brings into retention.
So now our retention aspect for our proposal. We want all of those who purchase a pass to Ski Big 3 to spend most, if not all of their time at Lake Louise. More time means more revenue. But we also want Lake Louise to be more than just a ski resort. So that's why we want their experiences to include stargazing, pre-reserved moonlight picnics, things like mountaintop sunset watching, single get-togethers for the low traveler, midnight hikes, photography classes, art classes, yoga classes, beer tasting and wine tasting, scavenger hunt for the kids, family bonfires, igloo building, and outdoor movie projections. We also know that you guys do have a daycare facility, but we think that you guys could improve on it and have Indigenous cultural classes that teach not only the history of the First Nations, but the history of the lands which it's located on. We also believe that for these classes, you should
have your employees teach these classes rather than bring someone from the outside. So this also promotes a sense of morale and a sense of building from within the company, which is always a good thing for the family craft gift that you guys have been founded on. Moving on to our second retention idea. 70% of the traffic at YYC is domestic, and they are looking to renovate these terminals in the upcoming year. This means that Canadians, which is a large part of the source of your income, travel through YYC. So our partnership idea with YYC is a marketing campaign that includes, but is not subject to, the video of that untouched beauty that Lake Louise has to offer to everybody, sparking the interest of those closest to home and those coming from far and wide all over the world.
So thank you very much for your time. We firmly believe that our ideas can help very well the expansion of Lake Louise Ski Resort in particular, and also Ski Big 3. And therefore, we wanted to have a little more time to engage in conversation with you about our proposal. So we give you now the floor. Thank you.
Risky move with the video and time. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
That's hard. Great job.
Any questions if people have? We have that idea about partnering with the X Games and the athletes and whatnot. Was there anything else in association with the X Games that we might do, or do you think that it would be like most valuable to focus on the hashtag photo challenge and partnering with athletes?
I know an idea with that also is throughout the X Games to have a representative located at the grounds that they're going to have the games at. So this will be able to help promote both Ski Big 3 and Lake Louise there and get the name out for people who might not know about Banff, who might not know about the skiing that they have there.
Where would you push the marketing for X Games?
So we definitely want to hit the demographic for Europe, since a very large part of the European population is, obviously accustomed to snow and accustomed to skiing. So that's the prime demographic. We want to hit younger generations, so they would have a longer time to develop the skills and have a longer retention rate for customers to come into Lake Louise.
And I also really like that you were focusing on it, the retention piece. I thought that was a cool idea about getting our staff to deliver good classes so that it kind of helps with that community aspect. So thanks for that. And I'll do a takeaway for me for sure.
Yeah, we really wanted to, because you guys are obviously a family-owned business and there's no one to stray from that. We really wanted to incorporate that in the core values that you stand for, to show everybody that it's not just a business, it's a family.
Awesome.
And so that was really important for us and obviously for you guys.
Wonderful.
Last question I have is attraction and retention. Where do you see it as the most critical part between those two as the bridge? Because obviously you got to get from one to the other.
Yeah, so I think an idea to get like one from the other, a huge part of that would continue bringing in like the athletes throughout the year, as well as the photo challenge throughout the year, because I'll keep bringing back customers over and over to come to ski with their athletes that they look up to, as well as if they win the ski pass through the photo challenge. It'll get them to stay at Lake Louise and ski through Big Ski 3 and help bringing them back and do the experiences that we could offer for you guys.
Also, to piggyback, a large part of why we want to keep having an athlete come back month to month on a monthly basis is because we believe that a core part of your revenue comes from those locally. And we definitely, if a child looks up to somebody, he's going to force his parents to make that 2-hour drive. And so it's very important to keep that local regional business coming in, which is a large part of those skills.
Wonderful. Very impressive. You guys put a lot of hard work into that, so I can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For taking time. Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate everything. This has been like a really good learning experience for me, and I didn't realize how close it is for me, so.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, hello, nice seeing you. Yeah, nice to see you again. You're good. Excited to see this.
Upload your.
Yeah.
Maybe we can break for a second.
Yeah, you can take a pretty long break.
You're giving Steve and I a chance to catch up with
Yeah,
the stuff,
yeah,
so
yeah.
we're happy over here.
Yeah, thanks for
We're still over here. Okay, perfect.
Okay. No, I think it's working now. So scope remains stable. So I'll just give you the instructions. Okay. Some minutes of presentations, you're in some Q&A. I will give you time for us to queue you. 5 minutes left, 2 minutes left, and the second start. So if the time comes down to the 12-minute mark, I will cut you off. If you end earlier, the question and answer will just extend until the 15 minutes is up. Okay. If you're ready, time starts.
Hi everyone, this is our presentation on Lake Louise Ski Resort, leading the future generations in sustainability and education. There you go. So we see these kind of advertisements all the time for ski resorts, and I was just wondering every time we see them, how accurately does it reflect our experience at a ski resort? So put your hand up if you ski like this. Anyone here? That's what I thought. So when I go to ski resorts with my friends, the time spent actually skiing is a small proportion of our experience visiting the park. So actually skiing is a small part of this entire pie of how we experience the park. So when we think of Lake Louise Ski Resort, it should be of the wildlife, the views, the gondola, the food, the hiking trails, not just the skiing. The current situation lies where nearly everywhere the industry is facing the challenge of generating long-term growth. The snow season has shortened by 34 days since 1980, based on climate change. 46% of active tourists now are called soft adventure tourists, meaning they prefer hiking trails, relaxing activities. And the most startling statistic, 2 for 1. For every one baby boomer, you need to have 2 millennials to replace their purchasing power. And so from that, we learned that Lake Louise tried to instill 3 main principles within its park: expose, educate, and sustain. And that's how we based our presentation around these 3 principles. We are snowboard consultants, Team 19. I am Max. Here is Rudy, Mason, Alanis, and Amalaf. To begin, I'll introduce Mason with exposure.
The current situation with Lake Louise Ski Resorts, we see that they are doing very well with their influencer marketing. And we see that there are a lot of macro influencers being used, though micro influencers could be used to another great degree. Micro influencers have a much higher engagement rate with all of their posts. They cost much less to actually hire for their advertising services, and they have just as wide a span of influence for the same cost as a macro influencer. As we see here, most skiing influencers on average get about a 3.4% engagement rate on their posts. But when you look at photography, that number jumps to 4.99. This is a massive increase in engagements across many numbers. Though whenever looking into the new industries, be careful whenever looking into wildlife, as the engagement rate is only a 1.02% engagement.
So we thought a lot, how do we get people to come here? Well, Lake Louise is already a site for sore eyes. So what we thought was, how do we make it accessible? So 23% of all travelers in the world are between the ages of 18 and 29. But as we mentioned earlier, we need 2 of our generation for each baby boomer. So we maintain competitive. So that's why I started doing research. And my ideal vacation at Lake Louise ended up being like 7,000 Canadian dollars. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have $7,000 to drop right now on a vacation. So we decided to come up with an installment plan where people could have the option to pay in equal payments in the term of 3, 6, or 9 months. We could also use the application Afterpay, which is available for US citizens, Australians, people from New Zealand, and the UK. And that allows them to enjoy now and spend later without Lake Louise being liable for the bad debt that may come. As well, we thought, hey, so these younger travelers are college students. Why don't we implement the usage of the platform Unidays? They handle the verification process for students in general, and then later on, what they do is redirect you to your website, where you guys already have established around an 18% discount for students in the Calgary area or universities that you guys have ambassadors at.
So talking about college students, now we are all college students, except Amala, she's a little older than us. But so when we were there, I mean, we were just, it was breathtaking. And we thought, what an amazing experience if we as college students could take this course to learn about Lake Louise. And actually, we found that here at University of Calgary, there's a class called Environmental Science Field School where they actually bring the students on site and they learn about the environment and do research and analyze data and also write reports about the area, and in addition to all the techniques they're learning in class. So we thought it would be a wonderful opportunity if these students can come to Lake Louise and learn about all the wildlife, the plants, the ecosystem, and bring that with whatever educational techniques they are learning in school. And we got to thinking, wow, once they learn all about this, they're experts, right? So wouldn't it be wonderful if we could bring them back as interns, maybe over the summer, to teach what they're learning to visitors and then maybe kids, because kids are fun. And so we segue into education. Now, we're all college students, so we love school. But what we wanted to emphasize is in children, because they're our future. And what we were thinking, wow, since we have these nice interns who know all about Lake Louise, we can have them help or lead summer camps for kids and teach them about what they're learning and do fun experiments just to engage these kids to know how important the environment is and how to appreciate nature in its entirety. So we done some research, and actually this paper from University of Waterloo emphasized the importance and all the positive impacts summer camps can have.
We also know that Lake Louise Ski Resort is developing a mobile app. And there could be some more features added on to that to keep skiers learning about the mountain and learning how to ski. So 25.02% of all searches on app stores are for games. That is the #1 most searched term. Also, at number 3 comes in at education with an 8% search. So gamifying skiing in this way will help incentivize skiers to stay on the slopes more. Features like geolocation can be used to track their way down the mountain, as well as the elevation that they have traveled to gain different milestones and show them their progress as they have been learning, as well as keeping them going back and wanting to do more. This also leads into sustainability. There could be another section of the app dedicated to short videos about the history, the environment, and different sustainable practices that they could be implementing in their own lives, as well as the practices of the park. This will be good for the younger generations, as they are always on their phones, and that learning through sprint learning is useful for the younger generations. Sprint learning is short educational videos that are only about 4 or 5 minutes in length that share on one specific topic. This is useful as they will be wanting to check their phones in between skiing sessions or when they're on break. And it is most preferred by younger generations to learn on mobile, according to CMS Wire.
Okay, so what we are trying to say is that it is important we facilitate the exposure, education, and sustainability within the children of today, so that the next generation will not have the burden on their shoulders. So we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children, and that's the quote from the First Nation.
Great.
Love that.
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time and for all that hard work. You guys put a lot of thought and effort into that presentation. That was obvious. So really good job. And that quote at the end was awesome. I love it. So I'm gonna put it down and use it again. Yeah, I think even Summit Plan is an interesting idea, and I love the aspect of the environmental field school. And the fact that there's that course here that you found and that you can then, use them as interns and teachers, and also maybe some cheaper labor for me with all my environmental work that I've been doing lately. So that's great. Where did you get that data at the beginning at the very beginning of the presentation with the pie chart about where people spend their most time in terms of lineups and those types of
That was
things?
actually my personal experience and my
Okay.
friends as well.
Okay.
Yes, that was just internal.
I hadn't seen that before.
Yeah, I wrote that same
Curious
question
about that.
down. A long time ago.
I don't think our lineups are that long, but okay, that's good. Do you have any questions for these guys?
The uni days is an interesting concept that I hadn't thought about before, so that's good.
So I actually used Unidays to pay for my music subscriptions online. And then what I do is that I type in my school email, they verify that I'm still a student, and then redirect me to the original website.
Gotcha.
So that way you guys wouldn't have to deal with that part of verifying that each
Yeah.
college
So it's
student
just
accounts.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Smart business.
That one,
I have to look at that.
for sure.
Can you take it from student loans?
I would hope so.
Great work.
Yeah, really well done. There's a lot of good things in there that we can draw from, so that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you Someone, did you guys want our pictures?
Oh, yeah, you bet. The whole thing was fantastic.
Great.
Thank you, you too. Next.
Okay, no problem. Is there a pub nearby?
No, let's just go back to the original first. Are you using Mac Windows? Mac Windows? Is it central or what it is?
Yeah.
We
Check the slides.
Okay.
The slides. Just log in.
Thank you.
This one. Go log in.
This is the last presentation for Ski Big Three. And we have 20 more. Hopefully. So Valerie, this is the last one.
Hey, how are you?
I'm Jessica, sorry once again. Sorry to greet you like this, but.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the last.
Here,
I'm just going to reiterate the same instructions again. So you have 12 minutes to present, 3 minutes to Q&A, and I will give you 3 time keys. 5 minutes remaining, 2 minutes remaining, and 30 seconds left. So of course, if we hit time limit of 12 minutes, I will cut you off your presentation. If you do it earlier, the question and answer segment will then extend until the end of the 2 minutes. So I will give you a few minutes to start. So you're all ready.
Yeah.
Okay, and your time starts.
All right, hey everyone, my name is Carlista Maroney. I am from Florida. You can tell by the Florida orange. These are my teammates and my friends, and I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you a bit about where they're from. So Charlene?
My name is Charlene Lopez. I'm from Grenada, that's in the Caribbean. I love style, so everything is nice.
Hi, I'm Jessica Marks. I'm from Philadelphia in the United States, from the city of Philadelphia.
And I'm Martin Madovarapia from Ghana.
All right, so today we're bringing an idea that is totally breaking the conventional idea that we're sitting on currently, which is that we are a ski resort and ski focused. So we're going to disrupt the market completely and bring you a new concept in which we'll include all of the experiences and adventures the Big 3
Skip3 and that Lake Louise have to offer. So if you want to, you can pull out your phone. This actually works. But this would take you to the concept of what we're going towards and a way to display the experiences that I'm wanting to offer. I'll give you some. Yeah. The next slide will display what it would show. Okay. So, how many of you guys know about Airbnb experience? Okay, so great. So as you know, Airbnb went from being strictly stay related and they moved to being experience related. So instead of just having locals giving you their house for the week, you can actually go on tours with them and see all the local destinations that are super hot. For example, I went to Niagara Falls recently, but I was planning on going to Toronto. So I went to Toronto, I didn't have a car or anything. However, because of the local offering to go to Niagara Falls for the day, I got to see not just Niagara Falls, but 3 other destinations that I couldn't find on Pinterest or any other offerings online. It was a great day. But something very interesting to note is the fact that the people using Airbnb experience and Airbnb are the target which Ski Louise and Victory are wanting to go after, the younger audience. So as you can tell from this, 60% of Airbnb users have been millennials, and it keeps growing. So for example, the past year, it's grown over 120%.
Okay. So just to reinforce what Carlota just said, we really want to shift your focus. We know you're a ski resort, you've been marketing as a ski resort for the past several decades, but you're not a ski resort. You are an experience, a complete outdoor experience, a reconnect with nature, a full package. So if you want to bring in the millennials, you want to bring in people on the weekdays, you want to bring in people that have flexible schedules, you need to really promote these experiences. And also, like Elisa said, people want to live like a local. They want to travel like a local. They want to feel like they're part of the community. So we want to bring in educational experiences, wellness, outdoors, using locals. So they're not going to be influenced with Big Three. Local tour guides that will post their services through your platform, either your app or your website that you're developing, the app, and be able to sign up for things like elevation yoga, forest bathing, going to the Banff Indian trading post, things like that, and also learn more about your Swiss mountain heritage to kind of have these comprehensive experiences. So for like wellness experiences, the mountain yoga, reconnecting with nature, well-being, mind, body, and spirit, kind of getting these experiences through these local tour guides that offer their time, obviously for a fee, to be able to come out and see more of what you have to offer. Then we have the heritage experiences, so you have a lot of rich experiences in the First Nations. So we're going to be able to come out with a tour guide and to really experience this. Instead of going to a tour guide shop that will give you something inspired by the First Nations people, you can actually get something original.
Also, we're looking into a wilderness experience, stepping away from the city for a bit and reconnecting with nature. So we're considering having a package where you can come and hike and also take scenic photography and also showcase these areas. And these photographs can also be placed on social media. This will build awareness. People will say, hey, what's this place? We need to go there and get a view of these scenic mountains, because when I went there the other day, I really enjoyed it.
I'd also like to add that a lot of my friends have asked where that was, and they travel a lot. So
A wilderness escapade. Also, an educational experience. This is where we target the schools, the universities, high school, primary school, because you could get a toddler coming up to the mountain saying, hey, mom, what's this? Moving away from the city, come and have the experience. We'll look at having sustainable courses, wildlife conservation, because you know that Canada is big on being paperless. Also, we'll use the professors of the various schools, we're targeting them and use them as tour guides and later become advocates for the Big Tree experience. They go there as a weekend program, and when they go back to the classroom, they can say, students, I went there, I did this. We do like to go as a group. And when they come as students, sooner or later they will invite their family, their dad, their granddad, and then we'll see a wider range of people coming to the experiences. After this is done, when they leave the compound, we can also take a souvenir. And that's a great strategy, souvenir.
And in addition to the professors and experienced people that we are also trying to bring on board, we look for people who has knowledge in terms of conservation, in terms of trees, in terms of geography of the area, archaeological background knowledge, because the lectures in the classrooms, then they have free time. Instead of going to play golf, they can use their spare time to take people to really understand what really they are teaching in the various classrooms. But all these, we are looking at how do we also get people into the place, because that's the main problem, that's the main thing. After our research, we realized that airport is one of the very good places to share information, because from the statistics that we came across from 2010 to 2018, the number of passengers through the airport has risen from 12.6 million to 17.3 at Calgary Airport, and it's still growing. So these people pass through the airport tunnel every day, that we need to let them be aware. There's a resort, there's an experience that you can get. But at the airport, it's just a short time they are going to spend it. So we are thinking, because in marketing, one promotion or one advert doesn't work. There's a need for the customer to be aware of it over and over. Then interest will be earned. After the interest, the desire will be there. That let me go and enjoy this that I have seen. Then when the interest comes and desire comes, then definitely the last one will be an action. That is when the person moves from one place to the other place. So in order to reinforce the knowledge or the awareness of it, we are proposing that billboards will be used within the terminals, then screens also to project or to play the nice video that we came across when we made a presentation. Just a nice experience will be played. Not only local here, but we are also looking at areas where majority of people come to Calgary. We are looking at Frankfurt, we are looking at Mexico City, we are looking at Boston and other areas. That whilst we are promoting it locally, we also look at the external aspect of it. So that when people become aware of it in their planning, they can also future that next year I've seen this. Let me put this on my calendar. That next year I'm going to Calgary, I'm going to Bath, I'm going to Lake Louise in order to experience all these things from it. And we also realize that in addition to advertising, we're also looking at partnership with some of the airlines, whereby some of these brochures that we came across when we visited Lake Louise can also be inserted at the sea packets. So while people are sitting and relaxing, they can pull some of these brochures and become aware of it. Some, if it's possible, they can also add it or advertise in the magazines that are normal in the seat packets. Also, those that will be able to partner with, we can also play the in-flight video. Also, the video that we came across here, they can also be played internally. Yes. Then, when we came, we also saw these chocolates being sold at the premises. There's nothing that advertised because it's your premises, and nobody can come to your premises and sell his products. So we are proposing that instead of people selling these products, we are proposing a new one. As we said, that we are changing the environment, we are changing, and we want people to experience chocolates that is designed with Louise embossed on it. If Lake Louise want to produce it or partner an institution, they can go ahead and do that. The advertisement or the name should be embossed on it, so that people who will buy this normally will take this as a gift to their family. But when you take it as a gift, there is nothing that is linked to Lake Louise, because your premises, as you advertise at the airport, you pay for it. When somebody else wants to sell in your premises, they have to pay for it. All right. Yeah. So as we are talking about, it's a corporate thing. So the benefit that will derive from it is not only limited to Lake Louise, Bath, and other parties, but the local community will benefit from it. The total will benefit from it. The professors will benefit from it. That's what we're talking about. A total experience that all parties involved will benefit from the package. So we have a video that we want to play. Just a short video.
This is just an example. It's not done by a poet, but going on the same lines of the experience of coming to the kind of experience that's pretty cool.
been able to connect with not only professionals and also to learn about these experiences through the app that we're
That was just an idea.
So that is our idea.
Thank you for your time.
There's a lot of effort into that.
Ghana.
It's from Ghana, where you can get the best ever cocoa beef.
Yes. Oh, it's actually.
It's delicious. I ate 5 in one sitting.
But how did you develop on?
We really thought about it. We really want it.
I
It's something that
That's really good.
I love chocolate.
So do you have any questions?
Yeah, I like the idea of kind of giving from the Airbnb experiences. I guess my question is, have you thought about what that would look like from a revenue model perspective?
Yes, we have actually. So we were thinking that Big Three would be the one hosting the platform through their app, so that would already be pre-existing. But what we would want is for, we know you invest in Big Three and you get the returns, so the idea is it all comes back. But for there to be percentages taken out of the people putting their local experiences on there, and then you receiving a percentage of that, or also a fee whenever they post it. And then, of course, whenever people go tour, the deal or agreement would be that they would be touring your premises. So people would be putting money back in. And then as well as you can play discounts and offerings to them so that it encourages them to return.
Of all of your experience and the research that you've done, which local experience do you think would have the best potential?
I think you would be best in
I think the biggest thing right now is the forest bathing. Also elevation yoga, mindful wellness, health and well-being is obviously a large trend that's growing more and more. So things like that that allow you to kind of truly reconnect with nature and be outside and get that. And then obviously you're taking a ski lift to get up to the mountain, and then hiking from there, then coming back down and having some cocoa or coffee and gift shop. So it's kind of just like a full all-around package. So the more traffic, the more people that you can bring into the area in general, the more revenue you're generating, and obviously your local people are going to then invest it back into your community. So.
And chocolate.
And chocolate, yes.
Great work. Nice
Thank
job.
you. Yeah, awesome. I can't thank you enough for all of that, and we're definitely going to be connecting some of this stuff. And call you for your chocolate supplier.
Yeah. You should taste it, it's actually
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I have one question. Have you seen, were there any other ski resorts that you uncovered in the Airbnb experiences?
I haven't seen those in the area. I kind of was highlighting Banff.
So the main experiences were on Airbnb were the ones that I showed. And actually, you can pull up that barcode. That'll show you the only experiences that are offered in the area. There were about 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And none of them were in that 69 to like 79 range that you told me.
And there's only, I noticed there's only a few ladies that look like, so it doesn't look like there's been very many people that have taken advantage of it, hopefully.
It's not a big push.
Because there's not really a large variety at the moment also.
Yeah.
Options. You can see, these are actually some of the ones that show up. Like I said, you can actually see the marker in the paper there. But it's like scenic mountain portrait experience, more like photography. Very few hiking, so I really think you can really span that and take advantage of all of the rich culture and history of the region.
And you've already got so many people visiting. If they're there and they have a day off that they need to go, we've got that right there.
Great. So then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
You should take these out.
You're senior. Exactly.
No. Sure? Yeah. I'm sure you'll give it a few.
Oh,
They brought a box.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.